Between Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram, those two guys answer the question of what do we plan on seeing from those two? What else has stood out to you so far in the first half?
Cleveland, as is the case with them, gets off to a great start. They wind up shooting incredible percentages, 57% from the three-point line, well over 50% from the floor. But then, as the norm goes, they let the Lakers right back in the game. Lakers go on like a 20-2 run.
Well, the activity and energy all for Cavs early in the ballgame, to your point, and then finally the Lakers started making some shots and started giving some competitive spirit, I guess you would call it, in that second quarter. Now they're back in the ballgame.
3D, a lot of guys made a lot of big buckets tonight. Wait until we get to that on the American Express Halftime Report. Rodney Hood, one of those guys for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Cleveland Cavaliers with a 5-point lead over the Los Angeles Lakers at halftime. Chris Miles here with Dennis Scott and Mike Fratello on the American Express Halftime Report. And it really was an impressive start for the Lakers in that first quarter in the sense of the guys we're looking for. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, they got out to a really good start.
Yeah, well, the Lakers tried to play fast, and they try to catch you before your defense can set up. Now, when they're missing shots, it's a problem because the opponent can run right back at you, and the Cavs held as much as a 15-point lead. Well, let's take a look at Lonzo turning the corner. Nobody there to protect the basket for the Cavaliers, so it winds up being an easy layup. Again, this time going down the middle, the ability to finish with both hands certainly helps. And then, if he's got a jump shot going down, that's a huge plus because you don't mind when he normally raises up and shoots that jumper. But if he makes one or two, then you get concerned, right, Dick?
No, you get concerned because that takes his confidence to the next level. He starts driving more, and it picks up his defense. With this new generation, offense kind of dictates their defense because they make a few shots, and then they started picking up. First quarter, the Cavs had 32 points, second quarter 19 because the Lakers started making shots.
And then when you look at the other side of it, Colin Sexton, I mean, he came out, hit first 3 of his 4 shots. Then he cooled off a bit, 1 for 5 in the second quarter. But he's going to get the ball, and he's going to have opportunities to make plays and, make mistakes as well.
I'm glad you said that, Chris. Coach, we've seen it so many times with a young talent that comes in. You wonder, was too many mistakes create bad habits? I think Larry Drew may be a perfect head coach for him to say, hey, young fella, go out there and play with that aggressive, competitive spirit you're showing us. Learn through your mistakes. Don't make the same mistake each night. And I think so far, to your point, he's off to a pretty good start tonight.
One of the things that happens with this group, they play in bunches. And what I mean is when Sexton has it going, then he gets his bunch of points. And then a substitute and Clarkson gets his bunch of points. And then Hood gets his bunch of points.
Right.
It's not like it's an even distribution over the course. It's like, okay, my time now. And now it's your turn.
Take a turn.
Your turn.
There you go.
Well, you mentioned that because Brandon Ingram had 11 points in the first quarter and only took 1 shot in the second quarter because it was Kyle Kuzma's turn who scored 9 points in the second quarter for the Lakers. So to your point, I mean, it's pretty clear that happened. Here's Ingram in that first quarter taking advantage of the ball in his hands.
Well, we talked about them playing fast. He drives right at the defender and just keeps on going. Now watch what happens. Stop. What am I going to do with this thing? 1,001, 1,002. I got to get a shot up and make a pass. So he hits the fadeaway. And then watch this one. Take the contact. I think there'll be a foul here. Or at least he made it look like it was a foul. But instead, gets the friendly roll.
I like that shooter's touch on that one, Chris.
And that's the adjustment midair that you look at Brandon Ingram and you hear the term upside. That's part of it with him, is being able to make those adjustments, make those tough shots. Certainly a guy that we're going to keep an eye out on in the second half. And we have to also keep an eye out on the rest of the league, the Denver Nuggets needing to keep pace with the Golden State Warriors out west. 38. Bradley Beal played 55 minutes to get those 43 points. Go along with the 10 rebounds and the 15 assists.
Well, Washington shooting 43% from the three-point line. Good night from the deep area.
Yes, indeed. This could be a marquee matchup right there.
Here's Serge Ibaka after the game.
Yeah. This is NBA, man. I know. And when you relax like we did in the second half, team's gonna come back. Because we start so early, getting easy bucket, and we kind of relax. But they didn't give up. You have to give them a lot of credit because sometimes, when teams down like that, they always give up. But they was keeping fighting, and then that's why we had a close game. Yeah, Kawhi is a tough guy, and he was in great position under the basket and the ball, to grab the rebound. Also, because I was spacing, to let him play one-on-one. That's why I had that open threes. I think tonight he played like a superstar. That's how we need him to play. He did his job. That's his job as a superstar. Where we need him to step up and make big play like he did tonight.
Wasn't one of the complaints with Washington that they didn't share the basketball, they didn't move the basketball, and suddenly 36 assists in a game tonight for the Wizards. That's a special number.
Yeah, they've been averaging over 30 assists in the game since John Wall has been out. But, I mean, Bradley Beal, a big part of that. This is the second time in the last month we've seen him get 15 assists. I mean, there's one thing for him to have a 40-point triple-double, triple overtime game against the Phoenix Suns. It's another thing for him to do it, 3D, against a team like the Raptors with the Wizards down in the fourth quarter. Are the Wizards restoring your faith that they could actually be a playoff team this year? When you see a game like this, I know there's no moral victories, but to see how they fought against the team with the most wins in the NBA.
If you're a Wizards fan, Chris, to your question, you saw some fight tonight you hadn't seen in a while. And also to Coach's point with the 36 assists, it kind of feeds off with last year's moniker where it's coach. When every time John Wall wasn't playing, they said more, we all eat more. Well, 36 assists proves that we all eat. So the question is now, Chris, can you bring this fight you showed us tonight all the way up to the All-Star break to your question, kind of believe that maybe we can fight for a spot? And that's the thing for me, Coach, that don't let this be a one-game stand where you get down by 25 points, your local crowd starts booing you first, and then you get back in the ball again, you find some energy, and then you make a game of it in double overtime.
Hasn't it seemed like Washington's had a horrendous season up to this point? But when you look at the standings, they're 2 games out of the 8th spot for the playoffs, which either means the East is really bad, okay, or they've kind of been deceiving, just hanging around long enough to maybe make a move in the second half of the season.
Well, I think to this conversation, Coach, you can say 1 through 5, those teams we kind of believe, they're going to be solid. Maybe before Dragic went down for the Heat, you probably would give them a little more, solid playoff push. But 6 down to 10, it's been fluctuating all season long, to your point. So now John Wall goes down, and then they start playing better basketball. But wait a minute, he's your franchise player. So now, from being up in D.C., a lot of the conversation is, well, wait a minute, John Wall's done for the season. This team is playing better. Now, do we make a move for the trade deadline and maybe shore up our front line and make our rebound a little bit better and maybe hold on to that 8th spot?
Well, who's the move?
That's what I'm saying.
Who would the move be?
I don't know.
Because somebody's got an awful big contract there. I mean, like a really big contract.
I mean, really big.
Yeah, really big.
I believe you're talking about John Wall.
Who?
Well,
No.
Well,
What?
yeah.
Well, let's focus on the team with the most wins in the NBA right now. The Toronto Raptors, seeing how they were able to, again, we talked about the Wizards fighting. The Raptors could have easily been like, okay, this is a game where they have the energy, they take the win. Raptors continue to lead the league in wins. Their only loss since the start of the new year against the San Antonio Spurs. We know that was an emotional game for them with Kawhi Leonard going back down there. When you look at this Toronto team, do you see them as being the favorites coming out of the East to go to the NBA Finals? Not just winning the regular season, but going to the Finals.
Well, Toronto, along with Milwaukee right now, are the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference. And let's face it, everybody was expecting Boston to come out and have a sensational beginning of the season, beginning of the regular season. But unfortunately, this is not the same Boston team that finished up at the end of last year. You have 2 guys that came back that weren't there at the end, Kyrie and Hayward, and the chemistry and the same fire isn't there right now that was there at the end of last season during the playoffs, during that great matchup against the Cavaliers. So, the question is why. Sometimes chemistry is hard to attain. It takes time for everybody to fit and want the same thing.
And with that being said, that's why I would say Toronto yesterday because of that chemistry. Because everyone wondered when you bring in Kawhi Leonard, how are we going to keep this young man happy? Not playing back-to-back. So I think Nick Nurse, along with Masai Ujiri, is doing all the right things and pulling all the right buttons to keep this chemistry on the right page. So now you look at Siakam, all those Van Vliets of the world, they've all improved over the year. Now that's what makes that bench deeper. C.J. Miles still hadn't shot the ball particularly well. We know how he can stretch the defense. So they're deep enough, Coach, and they still have Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard, who were what? Championship tested.
Yeah, what about Indiana? We need to mention them because Indiana, when they finished up last season, everybody was saying, wow, this team, watch out for them next year. But Oladipo hasn't gotten back yet to that level that he was playing at during the playoffs last year. And a certain guy named Paul George was important to that team last year. So even though they're good, they're solid, I mean, this is a tough out to knock these guys out. Still may not be the same Indiana team that we saw last year.
And you have to also mention the Philadelphia 76ers, who are a team that you see the young talent, you see the possibility for some ascension. They were in action. Taking a look at the Eastern Conference standings, circle that team in 5th place, Boston Celtics. They were, prior to the start of the season, a team that you thought would be, closer to the top of that. But they've had some issues on the court, some issues off the court, players only meeting. Marcus Morris got into it with Jaylen Brown during the week. Well, in last night's loss to the Orlando Magic, the final play, Boston down by 2 points, something interesting happened. Kyrie Irving looked like he was very adamant that he wanted the ball before the final play, then he didn't receive it during the final play, and then he was vocal after the game. Here's Kyrie before the play. See 2.9 seconds on the clock. Hey, I want the ball. That's what it looks like there. And then Czar, Kyrie's at half court.
Well, Brad Stevens does that a lot. He takes one player out of the front court, the offensive end, to try and open it up for their spacing, for their execution, puts that safety valve in the backcourt. But he also has a play where after the pass is made, that guy in the backcourt sprints, and tries to catch his guy sleeping.
And Kyrie has his hands up as if he's waiting for a pick, 3D.
Yeah, it looked like, to Coach's point, normally Al sets the second screen for Kyrie coming full speed. That's what Kyrie's trying to tell him. He's telling Gordon Hayward, wait. But looked like Tatum came off so clean, he got the ball, Coach, and got a pretty good look. Now, we know that's Kyrie. We know he's a competitor. He wants that ball late game.
And we know that you picked him as the guy you want with the ball of anyone in the league at the end of the game.
And obviously, we taped that way before I knew this situation was going to happen. But because I believe in Kyrie, because, Coach, he's proven it. Let's not forget, in Game 7 on the road, he's proven to make that big shot. But they saw something different in Tatum in that particular play.
I've seen Brad run these plays before, and what happens is they run that cutter off, and then Horford is usually stepping back somewhere. And when they start Kyrie in the backcourt, his defender turns his head for a second to see where the ball went to. Kyrie takes off and goes, and he'll either start one way and cut back the other way, or he'll come right off of Horford to get it and then wind up with the shot. It didn't work that way last night.
So when you see the body language and the interviews after in which Kyrie Irving, he is saying that this team isn't experienced. I have the experience. Let's listen to it now.
It doesn't matter who you're going against. It matters the type of preparation you have, what you're going out and trying to accomplish. What's the big picture? What are we doing here? These are a lot of things that I don't think that some of my teammates have faced of just every single day. It's not easy to be great. So the things that you're doing, that you've done your whole entire career, of being able to, kind of coast by in certain situations, and you've gotten away with your youth and stuff like that. Being on a championship ball club, you can't get away with that.
It's interesting because he sounds like LeBron when LeBron came back to Cleveland from Miami, as in, I have the championship experience. You guys need to understand that. I mean, do you see that correlation, 3D?
A little bit, because he is a champion now. He's been a champion on the Olympic level too, Coach. So, and to his point, he's made that Game 7 shot on the right wing, three-pointer over two people. So he knows, to his point, the preparation he's put in for those opportunities to take that second shot. Now, we all know the success that team had last year. They're feeding off of that, Coach.
Let's face it, when Kyrie came into the NBA, he was on a losing team. They were losers, bad losers.
Yes.
When LeBron came back, and joined Kyrie, you probably are hearing speeches that Kyrie listened to over and over again from LeBron saying, listen to me. I've been there. I've won championships. He listened well because he's passing it on now to try and share his experiences.
Now, as a coach, when you're trying to define roles and helping guys understand where they belong on the team, when you have a guy like Kyrie Irving, then you have an emerging guy like Jason Tatum, who made some big plays in the playoffs last year. How do you massage that situation and helping guys understand their pecking order?
Let's be honest. If you are a leader, your teammates have to allow you to lead. Let your leaders lead. I would always remind our team, you can't fight for leadership. you earn the respect of your teammates by being the guy they want to lead them. They'll listen to you. They don't want to listen to certain guys, but they'll listen to you if they respect you as their leader.
No, and I think that's what Kyrie was trying to say after that ball game, Chris, that I've put in the work. I've proven to you guys what I can do. I'm healthy. I thought I should be able to take that last shot.
Certainly in Houston, we know who gets the last shot. It's always James Harden, at least with the ball in his hands, going to make the decision. And once again, it's the Orlando Magic down to the wire. 2 nights in a row, we saw them pull it out against the Boston Celtics. Right now, they're down to the wire against the Houston Rockets. Nikola Vucevic with 20 points.